is about Drupal AJAX Commands. I actually, let me. Я могу несколько читать. So, what are the AJAX commands? Actually, in PHP, there are just functions that creates arrays for them to use in AJAX render function, in AJAX callbacks, or in simple callbacks with Drupal exit. There are a list of predefined commands like add a new CSS or append, prepend some blocks, remove, replace. You even can do some setting stuff from AJAX callbacks. And all this list you can find on api.drupal.org. But also you can create your own AJAX commands, your custom AJAX commands. So from PHP side, it looks like this. It's a sample function. You don't have to make some specific naming. You just have to make a command name, and the rest of arguments or the rest of array keys will be just an argument for the function when it will be called. So in my example, I will just show you how to send a message from server side to UI, and from JS to trigger it to show it on HTML side. So in JS, you have to define a new command with Drupal AJAX prototype commands, and name the ID of your command, and the logic of what you want to be done with this response. So actually, every time when the Drupal will respond you with an AJAX array, will be triggered every commands from Drupal from JS side, from Drupal JS, and it will parse all array and will watch for what command should be triggered. So in this case, if an array will be an array with ID show message, it will trigger this function with the response. So this is an example how to use commands from callbacks. So in this case, I have an command. Sorry. Yep. So you have to define an array of messages. You have to define an array of commands with this function, and just respond with I don't know why it's. So it should trigger with AJAX response function. So here's where can be triggered an AJAX command. In standards, it can be triggered, so you can send a new AJAX command just in AJAX callbacks from Drupal, but also you can have an exception. So in simple requests, you can have just an exception. For example, if there is an error, you will send the comments, and you will just Drupal exit, and the response will be just an Drupal array. From UI side, if you want some button or some link to get the response in JSON in AJAX, sorry, You just have to add a class, use AJAX, and this is all. So why I like AJAX Commands and why I use it? So I like it because it gives me a way how I write cleaner JS and PHP. So every code what I wrote, it's my code. I don't have to make something in some standards like CTools. It's cleaner HTML markup. It will give me the HTML, that HTML that I will put in. No additional libraries and CSS, so I will not have to rewrite some CSS or to assign some JS libraries. And you have also no restrictions. Why I don't like CTools? Because there are a lot of... So this is a way how you can do it from Drupal core way. But there are a CTools module, I think everybody know it. And you can do it in CTools, AJAX Commands. But it will render additional markups. It will add you an additional CSS. You will have to do it in those way. You'll have to make a render array, and it's more, I don't know, not clean. So my session actually is this. So if you have some questions, please.
For example, if you want to use some custom AJAX altering in your node edit form, for example, adding a new field or clicking a button and adding a new field to make it multiple or something like that with your stuff, will it pass a validation form on submit or something like that? Because you're altering the entire form, you're adding a new inputs with names, and you submit the whole form. You have to validate this.
In this case, you'll have to re-render the entire form. Because if you add a new field, it will not validate it. It will give you an error.
A new form element, actually.
I'm sorry?
It will be a new form element.
Yeah, it will be a new form element, but you have to assign it to form. So in Drupal, I think you will get the error with not valid form or something like this.
Something like that, yes. Because I expected this many times, and I had to do a rebuild form or something like that.
Yeah. So for forms, actually, there are AJAX element, AJAX attribute, what you can use. But there are also some tricky stuff because not every time it works like you want. So in forms, I don't know. Every time I used AJAX attribute for this. But this stuff is more for example, modules for get, for retrieve more items in the list, for example, or to get some to have some dynamic blocks what refreshed every 2 seconds, 5 seconds. So for this way, it's more cleaner to make it in Drupal AJAX commands.
I think you used this for your custom forms, for your custom pages, but not built-in or altered by default Drupal forms and Drupal blocks, because as you said, we have a key AJAX with multiple params, with page callback, with adding and loading line, bar, or adding an icon, do a replace, do a validation, do something else. It's a CTools AJAX, yes.
No, it's not a CTools AJAX. It's a core AJAX, actually.
Yeah, it's core AJAX. But what you explained, it's just a more custom code, custom way of doing AJAX.
Actually, it's about everything without forms. Maybe I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So, other questions?
how popular is this practice, this approach? Because I haven't heard any time about this AJAX Commands, because I noticed that this is a native API from Drupal.
Yeah.
But it's not popular because everyone is using it still.
Yeah, before I read about it, I used CTools models, CTools AJAX Commands, and I don't know why, but okay, it's because CTools offers gives you plugins, gives you commands, and it integrates with AJAX, with views, with panels, and maybe this is why everybody uses CTools. But in this way, it's, I don't know, it's faster sometimes to develop it, because like 1 year ago, CTools has a lot of issues. Has a lot of issues with forms in models. I don't know now if it has, but this was a way how I save a lot of time.
The other point is this way is a light way of doing things. CTools is a heavy way of doing things. It loads a lot of plugins, a lot of kind of stuff, and it works. You know, if you're talking about Drupal, you're talking about performance, and it is very important.
Yeah.
And it will cost you some additional time to do this, but it's possible.
No, I think this is what will take you less time to do it, because in CTools, for example, how you make a model in CTools, you will have to make a new template. You will have to make a new, but just not just a simple template. You have to do a template with variables. For this template, you have to make an array in Drupal in CTools hook. And then you have to make some custom comments if you want. And in the final, you will have I don't know, maybe a good model, but there will be CSS what you don't want, some JS stuff that also you don't want, and sometimes, I don't know, the markup also will be wrapped in different classes, defaults. And but in this way, actually, for the people who came, beginning teach, the people who just start to work with Drupal, this way it's more simple, because the markup it's cleaner.
Yeah, that's a big start, yeah.
Can you give us an example where you use this?
Yeah, actually I can show you an example. Okay. So with models, let me do it like this. So for example, here. So here when I type a new message and send it, it will, so this is done in simple AJAX commands. And also so here actually I had with CTools model, I had a lot of errors, form errors. I don't know why, but maybe something I have done something wrong. But with AJAX models, it takes me like half, or maybe not half, but like 1 or 2 hours. So it's I actually get the markup, import it to the AJAX commands, and it's done. So I just show stuff and hide it.
So if you're using Firefox to work, if you open the developer tools see this async calls going to the backend, right?
Right. So here when, for example, I make new offer,
Okay, and
so this is how looks post, but this stuff is not done by me. It's done by default from form AJAX. So, but if I get something, so the call will look like this. So this is default settings, what will come, and my custom command with content and header. So I will render it in my predefined markup.
What about jQuery update model? There are
sorry?
conflicts. There are some any conflicts with the jQuery update model? What
No.
use jQuery 1.8 and 1.7?
It's no difference.
So I can even skip using this model. I can use a core Drupal jQuery.
jQuery, yeah, you can use core Drupal jQuery and use Angular or something else for rendering it. So you'll need jQuery just for core AJAX, core Drupal JS.
Yeah, no, because you can use some new stuff, some new methods, some new kind of, I don't know, post-processing inside my command. Not only rendering any HTML, but rendering any new commands, I mean JS commands. When I'm clicking a button, not only to display some HTML or add some CSS, but to do another JS stuff.
Yeah, you can reload the page. You can make another AJAX call. You can make so everything what JS gives you, you can do it.
Nice.
Yeah, and one thing what is bad maybe, you don't have the some altering of it. So you will not be able to alter some functionality from one module to another module. So, but CTools gives you it. But okay, this will be not okay maybe for country modules, but for your custom code, it will work good.
Would you suggest this solution for large enterprise projects?
Actually, yes.
Is it consistent? Is it reusable everywhere in order to have less code, to initiate that code, have that many reuse blocks?
So for reusing, actually you can reuse it everywhere you want. For so I don't know. This is not functionality for one block or for one page. So I don't know why you will not be able to use it.
Going back to my first question of popularity, you know, and consistency and CTools, you know.
Yeah, there are a few of blog posts about this, but actually there are a few blog posts about Drupal AJAX Commands in Drupal 8. It will maybe it will be more usable for lots of people because CTools it's in core, if I'm not wrong, and maybe it will be. So this is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.